Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now.
UFC 300, the co-main event, strawweight title is on the line. China versus China. Weili versus Zhang Weili, which is how you say it, Chinese people say it, and then Xiaonan, or Westerners will say Weili Zhang and Xiaonan. It's like, why is it so confusing, right? Like Korean names are the same, Japanese names are the same, right? It's like backwards. Your surname is in
last
front,
name first, and then
it's like, do it to everybody or don't do it to anybody.
right.
Why are you switching certain people, but certain people you don't switch? Like for the in the UFC, for the Chinese fighters they switch it,
Oh,
but from the Korean fighters they don't. So they think like,
But
that's
everywhere in Asia, it would be, or most places in Asia, it would be last name first.
first, like
Yeah.
most places,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't. The UFC they decide who they switch to
That's weird,
fit
man.
the Western, which is
that'll just confuse people if nothing else.
definitely confuse people, right? But anyways, so people would be like, hey, what about Kang? And I was like, who's that? And they're like, oh, Kang, his first name is Kang. And I was like, there's nobody first name Kang.
That sounds like a last name.
That's
to
a
me.
last name
Yeah.
for sure. But anyways, this fight is crazy. Weili, this is, man, how many title fights she's had? She's had a massive amount.
Oh
but
gosh. Yeah.
And she's part of the Bang Tao. She does like 70%, 60% of her camps here usually, and then she goes to the States. We've seen her, 3 times now at the gym, 3 camps. So we know she's working. She's a machine. If you doubt her work ethic, we'll tell you right now, we've seen it. They've trained with her.
She's a machine.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's
fun
like
to
no
roll with.
other person.
She's super fun to roll with.
Yeah.
Awesome training partner.
Yeah.
Yan, man, she's built herself up. I think most people have doubted her, and now she's fighting for the title. She knocked out Jessica Andrade.
I was gonna say, yeah,
That's frightening.
She knocked out. She had her best performance at the best time, which was when the title shot was on the line, and she goes in there and knocks out Jessica Andrade, which was insane, right? Yan, I like her a lot. I'm picking Yan to win this fight.
Ooh.
I'm not, I don't know Weili. I've seen her around and stuff, but it's not like I'm like emotionally, invested in Weili or anything like that. It's just what I think. I think Yan is being so overlooked, like to the point where it's like there's no expectations
I see what
except
you mean.
from her team.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's been a lot of moments in MMA like this where like the champion is so polarizing and just like built up, right? And justifiably built up into this monster to where like the challengers are like, you know what I mean?
Think of,
she deserves it,
Yeah.
but does she really have a chance? And look at the odds. Minus 420 for Weili, and it's a plus
crazy.
320 underdog for Yan.
Yeah.
I think these two, I think a lot of people think like these two are friends. They're not friends. Well, they know each other, but they're not like friends, right? And they've never really actually trained with each other.
Yeah.
They've trained alongside each other with the same strength and conditioning coach, but they've never actually trained with each other, right? So it's not like they know each other like that.
Everyone thinks like, because they're from China.
Yeah.
China's a big fucking country,
It
mate.
is.
Like,
There's a lot of fucking teams in China
yeah,
too.
man. Like,
We see them coming through all the time, right?
yeah, it's huge. Like, yeah, and honestly, like right now, MMA is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Oh,
And you can still see gaps in the ground game from people in mainland. I shouldn't say mainland. It's like in China, but no, it's just like Hong Kong.
Yeah.
But so you can still see the gaps in the, and you'll see the Chinese fighters that have definitely like gone out and learned grappling from other places, but otherwise, like it's getting so big that it's just like they have all those different promotions. There's guys constantly fighting. And a lot of the Chinese fighters don't give a fuck. They fight all the time, man. So for people to be like, oh, well, surely they train together. It's like, and do you think Beijing and Shanghai are like right next to each
Not
other,
even
bro?
close.
What?
I've been to China like a few times, and one time I went there for like 2 weeks. So you got to actually like ride the trains. Dude, you don't even understand the scope of the country until you get on a train and get on the train for like 16 hours just to get to the next
sleeper
major
trains,
city.
like you go overnight, you
Yeah.
sleep on the train, you wake up, you get there. It's
Insane.
Man, like we just in Hong Kong just got like essentially a bullet train to go into China, and it was a huge deal because it was like, holy shit, we can actually like take a train and it doesn't take us like 8 to 12 hours to get anywhere in mainland. It's like,
Fuck, did I push the record button?
did you?
Oh, I did.
I had one of those moments earlier.
Yeah, I was like, fuck, man, I gotta doubt myself. But anyways, yeah, so with Weili and Jan, you know, both them, 34 years old, they're the same age. They're like a month apart or something crazy in this, right?
Interesting.
Same size, reach is the same. The thing about it is, like Jan, from what I know, is Jan is like looked at this, like she's not really a fan favorite in China. Like
Is there a
they
reason
like,
why?
yeah, for some reason they paint her as like a villain compared to Weili. Weili's like this
I've noticed that,
national
actually.
hero type thing, but Jan is not. Jan is like, she's being overlooked. You know what I mean? She's like, it's like almost like the Chinese were rooting against her. A lot of the fans rooting against her when she fought Mackenzie Dern. That's what she told me. Like,
Weird.
that was like the sentiment in China. And it's like, Yan has that chip on her shoulder. Like she's got to prove to like China, which most people have no idea what's going on, right? In that narrative. And Weili, for some reason, you know, going back to Weili when she fought Rose for the title, there was a lot of like talk ahead of that fight about like, you know, stuff outside of fighting, and almost like the pressure got to Weili. And I think like this fight is kind of similar to that, but a different pressure on Weili. That
this is a
she's
national
expected to,
pressure.
in like national pressure, like there's like people pushing for her to win that we have no idea in the country, right?
And I think a lot of people don't realize how nationalistic China is. Like, if you're from China and everything, like that's a big deal to be a champion out of China, right? And then to be sort of like, it's almost like they're fighting for not just the championship, but like who's gonna be the hero in the long run, you know? And yeah, it's interesting because like there is that sort of like nationalistic scope that I feel like a lot of people in the West would have no idea about. Like they don't realize like what a big deal it is to be even a representative in the UFC, like from China.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But what, like you train with Weili?
Limited amount. Like when I'd run wrestling classes and stuff like that, there were certain classes that like they would jump in, like her Weili and probably like 3 or 4 of her training partners or something like that. So I'd look over and like I could see how coachable she was, but there were I think once or twice, like much earlier on in the Mang Tao days, where like I would just be the training partner for that day or something like that, and I just work with her directly. But I think actually that only happened once. But like both times I was like super impressed because she's super professional, like really receptive to coaching, to the extent that if you just hid her identity for whatever reason, I'd be like, oh, great student. Like it's like great work ethic and stuff like that. It's the kind of person where if you train with them, you'd be like, I wouldn't be surprised if this person ends up being a champ one day because they're such a professional about like how they train, how receptive to information they are, and then actually applying it. She's really good at applying what you teach her, I think, and that's really, really impressive.
One thing I noticed about her last 2 fights is that she has been incorporating the ground game much more than she did in previous. I think it has a lot to do with her working here at Bangtao with the wrestling, and then also working with Josh Hinger.
Yep. So I think Josh
in
is
the
usually
States.
in his her corner.
Yeah.
Like I think
The last
6
2,
to 8
3
weeks
fights.
out
Yeah.
or something like
Yeah.
that. Like the agreement is he's in there like from start of camp to finish.
Yeah, I think that has kind of, there's an evolution in her style a little bit, where she's thinking like, I don't have to strike all the time.
Right.
Like if I could have the wrestling advantage or the strength advantage, I could take these girls down.
Yeah. Like
Or if
that.
they want to wrestle.
Right.
She's strong.
Yeah.
Like
She's very strong.
yeah, when she was here this last time and everything, and she would do the jiu-jitsu class, and like you were saying, like I'll be helping out, and then I noticed like her and her teammate, they were like, needed some corrections or whatever, so I just helped, and then immediately she like had it, and I was like, oh, perfect. And then she's asking to roll, and you can feel I could feel the moments where it's like, okay, this is a more jiu-jitsu position, and so she wouldn't necessarily be as fundamentally like strong in this position. And then suddenly we get into like roll into like side control, and it's just like, and you're like, whoa, where did this come from?
Yeah. That's true. There's like she's super fundamentally sound. Like when she gets to a position she recognizes, it's like boom.
Dong.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, that's where I was like, I think I was like, I like boloed or something, and I did something like so jujitsu-y. And then like we kind of like scrambled into side control, and I just felt for a second her just like go like zoop. And I was like, wow, like I could really feel how she picked up Ngannou, you know, like I was like, holy shit. And then, you know, scrambled out and stuff. And
She feels super solid.
She picked up Shaq, no?
I think she also picked up
Shaq is way bigger than Ngannou.
Yeah.
Way bigger. Like Shaq's like 300 something pounds.
Yeah.
7'2" or something like
Yeah, I
that. That's
believe it.
insane.
Yeah.
So she's a Hall of Famer. She's one of the greatest female fighters of all time, Weili.
Yeah.
But I just think it's Jan's time. I think that the problem will be with the speed. Even though Weili's fast, Jan's faster.
Jan's
and also,
super fast, right?
Yeah, super fast. And the movement. Jan moves a lot. Like, and she kind of has like that karate stance a little bit, like where she's kind of bouncy on her feet. And she's not in there to try to knock you out though. Yeah, if she does, she does, right? But if you look at a lot of her fights, yeah, she's pitter-patting. That could be a problem for Weili, where they're not like entering the fire, like Joanna wanted to enter the fire, and look what happened. You know what I mean?
Well,
she got knocked out.
it's
right?
one of those things where like rock, paper, scissors and styles a lot of the time. And I feel like Weili is rock.
Oh, every
You
time.
know what I mean?
Yeah, almost every
and
time.
Jan is paper.
Yeah.
And like, you know what, or she could be paper.
Yeah, she
You know,
could be
you know what I
paper,
mean? Like
yeah.
depending on how she plays it and everything.
It's the interesting part is, does Weili go in there and try to wrestle her like from the first round? And can Jan defend the wrestling? Because she comes from a wrestling camp now. She's been at Alpha Male for a long time, years now, right? Working with Faber. You know, a lot of the fighters are wrestlers, right? Base wrestlers, right? And, you know, look at the resume of Alpha Male. So I think she will be ready. She's been wrestling the whole time. I don't think the one thing about like a lot of these Chinese fighters, they don't neglect certain aspects of their game. We've seen Weili, right? We've seen some of the Chinese fighters that come through, you know, and I'm not saying all of them, because we've seen some of the Chinese fighters that neglect a lot of the fucking, it's crazy like how, I'm just gonna put it out there, it's crazy how some of these fighters make it to the UFC. I'm just gonna put that out there, you know?
Yeah, totally fair.
Yeah, it's just, you know, I'm just saying. But anyways,
Yeah.
but with Jan, the reason why I'm picking her, I think that she has the momentum, she has the chip, she doesn't have the pressure of Weili, especially home, in their home country.
Yep.
And speed, movement. it can be an exciting fight, but it might not be as exciting as people think it will be.
Right.
I
You know
actually
what I mean?
think if Weili wins, it won't be. Because like the way to negate movement is grappling
Yeah.
and holding.
Yeah.
And I feel like most likely the best path to victory is either like Weili catches her in a firefight, which would be exciting, or takedown,
Right.
control,
Workmanlike performance, nothing flashy,
Done.
just get the job
Done.
done, kind of.
bang, done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like it would be technically impressive for like us and everything, but it might be one of those performances where like a casual would be like, but she just held her down, and it's like, no, that was hard.
Yeah, you're at the highest level. Holding someone down is even harder.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of effort and
Trust me, like
a lot of know-how to hold somebody down. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
It's not everybody's Derek Lewis where they just get up and just
Yeah.
walk off. You know what I mean?
It's
And you
like-
just slide off of them for some reason.
Yeah.
It's like you said, it could be like that. Weili could go in there and be like, "This is the game plan." If it comes to striking, I could strike with anybody, but I want to take her best weapons away,
yeah.
which is the stand-up.
Right.
Get her to the ground and see how she works underwater.
Especially with the way that, like you said, the last two fights have been. I do think like, and even like when she fought Thug Rose, who again is a bit more like, more movement than Weili anyway. And then suddenly there's that head kick, there's there's that.
I'm guaranteeing you she's gonna be throwing, because she likes to throw that front leg head kick, that snap head kick,
Right.
and she moves really well, like in and out. That's gonna be a big part of the arsenal if she does, because I think Weili dictates where this fight plays out. She's the one, right?
Yeah.
And Jan's gonna be happy at the every first round, or beginning of every round. She's gonna be happy because she's gonna come out standing to see what she can do.
Yeah.
But I think this does go 5 rounds. I don't think we see a finish unless Weili finishes the fight on the ground.
I see. Yeah.
Weili finishes the fight on the ground and pound, submission, whatever it is. I think it's more likely to have like a ground and pound situation.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Or she gets
But-
outpointed.
Yeah, or she gets outpointed. Like strategy plays a huge factor in this, right?
Right.
Potentially, if Weili has a bad day and Jan has a really good day, she'll get dominantly outpointed. But I think if Jan wins, it'll be close, but still dominant enough that it'd be like a UD,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Right.
But then I think if Weili wins, it's probably a finish. Not necessarily, but like I think if she breaks her by constantly getting her down on the ground and everything, then there is the more potential that Weili would like finish.
Jan said that she would love a slugfest. Of course she would,
Yeah.
because that's the type of fight that you could test Weili with, right?
Sure.
Even though Weili's got crazy power,
Yeah.
and the striking arsenal is like more of like a Muay Thai style compared to Jan, who's more like a karate style boxer. It's gonna be a fun fight. But I'm picking Jan to win by decision, new champ, and they rematch in China. I think that would be crazy. I think that's what the UFC probably wants. The UFC doesn't care about the fighters. They're caring about like how much money they can make off them. You know what I mean? So if they had a choice, they probably want Yan to win and have her hold the belt, another Chinese champion, not even the same Chinese, another one. Do her world tour in China, get a little hype built up, and then do a title fight in China, right?
Well,
Beijing,
it'd be
Shanghai.
doubly as big, right?
That's what I'm saying. So, from a UFC perspective, that's what you want, right? But fuck the UFC. I don't care what they want, but I just think Jan wins the fight. What do you think?
I think Weili still, but like I said, I see her like it's more potential that she's able to get her down control, and it's a slow pace like burn out until a potential finish. But I see her struggling a lot more than what fans or anybody ever is going to give her credit for. And I think like if she doesn't finish her, it'll be close enough that they could still do that rematch in China.
Yeah, it could be a controversy.
Yeah,
You
that's
could
what
see,
I mean.
I could see
like,
controversy around it. You know what I mean? Like a split decision.
yeah.
You know,
One of
controversy.
those like where the UFC is still like sitting behind a tree licking its lips, going like, all right.
They're the paparazzi. They're the
Rematching.
Damn.
Yeah, I just hope like nothing stupid happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
something that ends the fight. Like and
crazy,
everybody's like, what?
controversial,
Yeah,
out of
just
their control.
not even controversy. It's just like something
Dumb.
stupid.
Yeah.
You know, some accident happened or something. Like, you know, someone's teeth fell out or I don't know. You know what I mean? Because they had fake veneers. I'm just saying. But what do you think, Jay?
God.
You guys are both going for Weili because you trained here.
Yeah,
let's just say the truth.
I absolutely cannot bet against Weili. Like in my head,
I
it's
also
just-
don't know Jan enough.
Yeah,
Like,
I have a really hard time just seeing Weili like losing.
No,
Just seeing
I've
that.
watched Weili before the UFC. I've seen her fight live a
Yeah.
few times, even like before the UFC. I saw her fight live in Korea for the title in Korea, and then after like maybe I don't know how much longer after that she signed to the UFC, and then I saw her when she won the title in China in Shenzhen. I was there, Kingside, watched that fight. That was crazy.
Oh, I bet.
Jan, I've interviewed her pretty much through her whole rise.
Okay, that's cool.
So like I kind of know Jan a little bit, but so I kind of have a better understanding of like what kind of position she's in. You know what I mean? Like with
Right.
China and everything.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'm not trying to like take anything away from Jan because
No,
I
for sure.
really
Yeah.
think that this fight is going to be way harder than what like same with the Jamal Hill. Like I feel like people like keep counting some of these guys out, and it's like these guys are title contenders. Like Jan knocked out Drosh.
Yeah.
Like so, not to take anything away from Jan, it's just Weili is just so legendary and dominant, and
Right.
she's been quite good with her game planning, especially with her grappling getting better and better.
Yeah.
Fun fact before we move on. Jan lost to Carlo Esparza the same way Carlo Esparza lost to Weili. Crucifix TKO.
Crucifix. We.
Isn't that weird?
That is
That
weird.
is weird.
Glitch in the matrix.
Yes. So MMA math, man. MMA math.
Yeah, I'd say if Weili wins it, like
Crucifix.
I could see her winning it on the ground.
Yeah.
Crucifix is like a Josh thing too. I think that's part of his like repertoire.
Yeah. We'll see. Great fight though. Great fight.
Yeah.
All right.